Alright folks, welcome once again to another Miniature Railway Adventures live stream. Now this one's going to be a wee bit different though, because in the previous streams that I've done before, they were all showing you guys about the trains route that I was making, which is going to be part of the new visual adaptation of Miniature Railway Adventures, but it's still a work in progress at the moment, so yeah, I decided this time around I might just do something a wee bit different, and thought I might as well do some sketching. So for many years I've been doing these audiobooks of Miniature Adventures, but not many people seem to actually get an idea as to what the characters look like in the series. I've tried my best to try and describe how they look in various stories, but only a small handful of the characters have their descriptions of their appearance described. So I thought it might be best just to, do this live stream so I can actually draw you guys the characters from memory as best I can, and just to give you guys, an idea as to how they look. So this is really like a pretty bad setup, really. I mean, I know most people when they do these live streams, they have like Photoshop open, they have screen shares and all that there, and they'll be designing with their graphics tablets and that there. But at the moment, my graphics tablet is not working at the moment because, well, mainly because I can't find the pencil fob thing for it. Seems to have gone missing somewhere. But I do have another one. I do have another graphics tablet thing which I use, which has like a touch screen built into the screen, so it's a bit more professional thing. I used it last with animation job that I was doing last year, and part of it there was they asked me to do some design work for. I think it was that they wanted to do some coloring pages for this series, and they says, "Look, we haven't got anyone available. Could you do these for me?" And I says, "Yeah." So I used my graphics tablet to draw out these coloring pages, and it was actually quite good. It was actually good fun. So yeah, hopefully I might do another job session of that there. So anyway, so yeah, this is just a very basic setup here. I'm sorry the camera quality is going to be pretty bad. I've set this to as best quality as I can at 720 ratings. So yeah, nothing really special in terms of like equipment wise. So just standard pencil, whatever, Sharpie pen for bring up outlines, so forth, and just a whole random collection of different size thickness of pens. I don't know why there's so many thicknesses, but there you go. So yeah, there's like micro types. There's a brush one somewhere. Well, I know which one's the brush one there because that's it there. So anyway, so excuse my poor camera setup, and I should probably maybe nickname the stream Artist's Corner, like with my Model Railway one, Modeler's Corner. Anyway, so before I start sketching out the character, whichever character you guys want me to sketch, I don't know whether or not I should actually do full body profile or should I do like a mid profile shot, so you just get like the head and shoulders and so forth. That would be quicker, and plus it'd be bigger to draw up, so you guys can get a better idea of their profile. Um, but yeah, it's entirely down to you guys. I can let you guys do a vote, just to see what you guys think, and go from there. Um, so yeah, how did these characters come to be designed in their how I visualize them to be? Well, years ago, from the very start of Miniature Adventures, I didn't know this was a thing at the time, but I just thought this was just a fun trend that everybody was doing. But during the what was it, during 2007, 2008 or so forth, I remember seeing a lot of people would design their avatars and like their own profiles as Sonic the Hedgehog characters, and I didn't know at the time that this was actually. I don't know if this is meant to be like this was the early stages of people becoming furries or something like that. I don't know. I literally have no idea. But I thought this was like a fun avatar trend thing. So I did this. I came up with this concept art thing of where I designed myself as a Sonic the Hedgehog character, and I did one for my mate Casey Jr. And then that was fine for a bit. And I started doing these like little comic sketches of them, um, doing some random stuff out there. I think there was one scene where I actually made my character getting killed by a toy rail controlled Dalek. I don't know if I still have the comic. I might still have it somewhere backed up, but we'll see. Um, But then after a while, I decided to try something a bit different instead of doing Sonic the Hedgehog characters. And there was a game I saw um, on DeviantArt that somebody had done, and it was I forgot their I have their username here, so I'm just gonna put it in the comment box here, the live chat box here. This is their username on DeviantArt. So that's their username, and they created this Flash game where you can design your own Pokemon trainer character. Now, at the time, I was going for a bit of a nostalgia trip of watching Pokemon, like the old Pokemon anime series, like Series One and so forth. And just to let people know, I stopped watching Pokemon after the Orange Island. I think it was the Johto series. I think it was after the Orange Islands ones. It was after that I kind of stopped watching Pokemon for a while. I watch it every now and again, like if it was on, I just sit down and watch it for a bit. But never really got into a huge fan base habit of watching it though. I used to years ago, but not anymore. So anyway, I used this software to create the avatars, or not the avatars, but the character designs of the characters. And there was a kind of there was a pose that these characters always did. I think it was because of the restriction of the game or something like that. I can't remember, but they always did a sort of a fist pump type pose, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of like that Pokemon fist pump pose that they always do in the ugh, can't speak today, in the anime. And yeah, just all the characters had this pose. So I designed all my characters on using this software or this game, and that was pretty much it. And that was pretty how I designed all the characters. And some of the descriptions as to why they're designed like this, I just wrote down. They have this for certain reasons. So, right, let's get down to doing this live stream because I mean I'm already 10 minutes in and I haven't even drawn a single thing on this here. So let's start. Okay, so TangageN97, you've asked for doing a full body pose, a full body shot. So I had to do it this way here. So okay, so you have a choice. Where's the wiki page? Right, I'm literally just using my Miniature Railway Adventures wiki page for this here. If you guys can't find it here, I'll put it in the description at the end here. Or if you type up Miniature Railway Adventures on Google, you'll most likely find it. You might actually get access to the character Mike Whitehouse's profile, so you might get access to it through there. Um, yeah, I'm going to be using this here because parts of the character bios, they do give you descriptions as to what the characters have in terms of like appearance wise, clothing, and so forth. So this will be like a rough guide for me as well, just to try and remember what everybody's dress code is. So let me see. Would you like a character from the Model Engineer Society group, or would you like one from the Motor Car Society group, the villains? So for the villain side, you've only got a choice of three, and for the hero characters, the model engineers ones, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, you've got about 8 character choices. One of them's the chairman, but he doesn't really count because you don't really know what he look. What I actually like to give this character a bit of a mystery, so you don't really know what he looks like. It could be anybody, so that's why I've kind of decided not to give him a character appearance description. So yeah, so pick up a number. Anybody pick a number between 1 and 7, and I'll draw that character. I'll tell you guys who that character is that you picked, and we'll draw them. And okay, so first one's come up here. Tankage and Defense 7. You've asked for my character, Whitehouse Films. Now he's not really called Whitehouse Films in this series. He's literally just called Mike Whitehouse. Okay, so number 5. Who's number 5 on the list? Number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, number 5 is Jane Wilkinson, the our female lead. Isn't it always the girls that go first? Okay, so we're gonna go for Jane Wilkinson. Funny enough, actually, she's actually my favorite character in the series. So I don't know. I don't know. I think the reason why I like her in the series, she's my favorite character, is because I kind of liked her character descriptions, like her bio that I gave her, because she's a character who I just kind of think she just wants to be she wants to fit in with everybody and to be part of the team and so forth. But sometimes she isn't quite aware of is she part of the team or not. But it's kind of up there at up in the sky at the moment. So so far in the series, it might have been hinted that she is, but she isn't. She needs like a proper confirmation, like written confirmation that she's part of the team. So yeah, ladies first, as they say. Right now, how did I draw Jane? Literally, I don't think I actually have drawn Jane. Right, so Jane's appearance, according to the Wikipedia page, is that she's 5 foot 7 inches tall. Her hair is a rich chocolate brown and often tied in a ponytail. Her eyes are turquoise blue. Her choice of clothing is optional during the stories, but often is seen wearing a rose-colored T-shirt and light blue jeans. She always wears the club uniform, which comprises of a sleeveless jacket with the Model Engineer Society's logo in gold stitching. Right, so how did I draw Jane? Okay, so just to let you know, this is going to be pretty bad. My drawing's very bad. Right, so let's see. First of all, I'll do the shoulders bit first, because this is how I sometimes do these things. So I think when it comes to drawing females, they have a smaller waistline. So Jane's going to have a bit of an hourglass figure to her. So draw hips there. Right. So yeah, like I said, I'm probably gonna get like proportions all wrong here. So don't point out the obvious. See, I can do one side, like one arm perfect, and then the other one's just completely wrong. Okay. Well, thanks for your feedback. Like I said, I don't even know if I've got this right anyway, so. Right, let's see. So that's roughly Jane's body. Let's do her head. Now there was something I learned years ago. I think it was from when I was drawing these characters as anime. When I draw their heads, I always do this sort of like a pointed shape, really. So when it comes to drawing females, they always have this sort of like a pointed chin of some form. And every time when I draw male characters, I always give them like a box shape type face. You'll see what I mean later on when I draw one of the male characters. Right, so put her ears in here. Now, I was trying to think exactly how does Jane style her hair, and I think the ponytail was kind of the option I had at the end. I think in the game there was an option for a ponytail, but I didn't really stick with me for a while, and then I just thought, well, just might as well just give her one. Might look nice. I tried different hairstyles, and this one turned out fine. So she has her hair like this, and let's see, how does it go? Goes up like that there. Has a wee quiff there. And it's slightly parted there. I don't know why she parts it like. And then there's a puff, what do you call those things? scrunchies, I think you would call them, or hair clips or whatever, hair ties. And then of course you have her ponytail come up like that. Now it's just the jacket she's issued with. And of course have to draw a t-shirt in as well. Don't worry, I'm gonna go over these again here, so you know this is only just like the rough sketching of it all. It's just so I can get the right parameters and all put in. Hair bubbles, that's what they were called. I just kept wondering what they called them. Okay, now, for some reason, I always did this as a kid. I think I got this from watching Ed, Edd n Eddy, but every time when I draw a t-shirt on a character, I always did this at the bottom, so... I always had this sort of like a squiggle at the end. I think this was something to do with, like, the wrinkles at the bottom of a t-shirt, but I always did that quite a lot, so... Alright, I think I might just bulk her legs out a bit more, because that looks... silly. Right. Now, for some reason, I always give my characters like the bottom of their jeans. The bottom of their jeans are always wider. I don't know why. I think this is like a '70s style that they used to have years ago, and somehow I seem to like that style. so every time I draw jeans, I always give them this wide brim at the bottom. Okay, then Jane has she wears like trainers during the series. And I'm not really that good at drawing trainers here, so what you see is what you'll get. I did actually do a whole series of like sketches featuring these characters just for like certain shots and out there for stories, and most of them were either they were just like sitting down on a loco or so forth, but very rarely at times they'd be standing up, and I'd always put something in that would cover up various things that I would find very tricky to draw. Oh yeah, I forgot to do this here. So that just helps me draw her face later on. Okay, let's see which one of these is which. Right, I'll go for this one. Have I got a spare rubber actually? Thicker rubber so I can just rub these out? No? Oh well. Right, okay, let's draw these out. So, I'll start with Jane's hair first of all. Actually, I might do the Sharpie actually because it's better. It's much bigger. Now, this is not really meant to be all that perfect, so just so you know. Right, I'll just do this bit here. So here's gonna go right here. apparently her t-shirt seems to be a bit bigger than hers, but bigger than her arms, so. Just really squirrely again. Well, yeah, I forgot to mention, on the uniforms there that they have, there's always this MES in stitching just on the side of the jacket there, so. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail with the hands, so just keep it very basic, really. Right, so let's just talk a wee bit more about Jane here, just so you guys can get to know her more. She was brought up by her grandparents most of her childhood, because her parents were busy doing like business trips across the world, and so they didn't really have much time to spend quality parent time with Jane. So she was brought up with her grandparents, who ran a local bakery, and the bakery firm was actually quite popular in the town that they were in. So she was able to help them out, and she was also able to learn from her grandmother and grandfather all these different types of pastries, which kind of leads to her becoming a head caterer at the Model Engineer Society. And during her teens, she mostly helped out in the bakeries because it was just found it quite interesting to work on. She studied home economics and got first class honors, and when her grandfather died, she helped to look after her grieving grandmother and throughout most of her late teens. And then when she died, about probably 8 months later or so, Jane went on to go to work on further studies across various places until she was able to pass more of her cookery and so forth, and more home economics and stuff like that. And she was able to she studied that she studied language courses for a bit, which we later find in the series turns out to be quite useful. So in the series, Jane can speak fluent Dutch and Irish, and there are some stories where this talent is actually incorporated in. So in terms of the Dutch speaking, she helps translate some Dutch visitors who came to the railway, and some of them don't really know exactly what where a certain place is, and unfortunately, by the way, this is a story which unfortunately this was actually meant to be part of the Charlie the New Shanta saga, but unfortunately, because I actually incorporated actual Dutch into the story, I can't actually speak Dutch. So I actually did remember asking somebody, could you be able to come read this audiobook for me, just so you can do the translate the speak Dutch for me. They said they would, but unfortunately at the time when it came around to doing the audiobook, they weren't free. So I just said, right, okay, we'll just put this one aside. Anybody can read it up if they want to. It's there. So the story is called The Big Freeze, and you'll find it on my DeviantArt page, and it's also on SIF, so you're able to learn more about that there. Right, okay, Jane's face. Now, how did I draw Jane's face? When I drew her eyes, this is going to be really weird. How I draw these eyes, I'm not really good at this. So, basically it has one wee dot there, one wee dot there. Very ditto type of style. And then her eyelines is just sort of like that there. That's basically how I draw Jane with her eyes and so forth. So yeah, that's not the best drawing, but that's Jane Wilkinson as how she appears in the stories. Again, I apologize for the bad drawing. It's not my best drawing of her. So yeah, Might as well sign, I suppose. Artists sign their work, so. Uh, so, there you go. White House Films signature. So there you go. Right. Yeah, because I'm using a Sharpie, it wrecks the next page. Right. So that's Jane Wilkinson. And let's see, how are we doing so far? Oh, half an hour in, and we've got one character drawn. That's a good start so far. I'm just gonna roughly just check to see how things are, because at the moment I know Miniature Railway Adventures isn't really that much. You know, it isn't everybody's cup of tea and out there. But I just want to try and see if I can boost it a bit more, just to see if anybody enjoys listening to the stories or wants to hear more about it. Yeah, just one other like has come up. That's about it, really. No matter. Right. Who should we go for next? What other character should we go for next this time? So, would you like a Model Engineer Society character, or would you like a Motor Car Society character? It's entirely down to you. Let's get a drink here real quick. I'll tell you what, here it's absolutely been roasting hot today. Okay, so Ben 10 Fan 1 Mob, you want character number 3. Character number 3 is on the wiki page. It's Mark Carson, otherwise known as Cars in the series. So, yeah, his character is pretty basic to do. I think I do have a rough reference picture of him. If I look back, yeah, I do actually have one here. My God, this took a while back to do. Right, okay. Before I go any further, I'm going to show you guys. Maybe no, it doesn't work actually. Oh bugger. Right, I have to go back to a certain site here. Don't worry, just bear with me for a second. I'm just literally just looking up something real quick. It's an old bit of artwork I did years ago, which shows Cars in his early days. Now, funny enough, actually, the character years ago, I always called the characters by their usernames. So I actually created their own like usernames. So I think, so yeah, my character was called White House Films. Casey was called Casey Jr. Corpse was called Corpse Fan, and I don't know why. Oh yeah, it was because he liked a certain brand of toys that were called Corpse. So go figure. And I think Jane's character for a while, she was meant to be called Whitey 13. I forget exactly why, but there you go. Okay, let's see. Right. Just gonna see here if this page comes up. Yep. Right. So you're gonna see one of my earliest designs of Cars years ago. We're talking back. When was this taken? 2011. Yeah. So this is an old sketch from 2011 of Cars that I drew. There he is. So this drawing was done years back. I think it was for On the Railways, and this was him. What was he doing in this thing? I just remembered he was putting he was putting laxative into Pepsi Max bottles that he was going to. He basically spiked Casey and Whitehouse's Pepsi Maxes with laxative as a payback for a joke they played on him. And I think I wrote this in because I remember watching a scene of the On the Buses movie where they did this to a group of women bus drivers, and they put like laxative in their tea, and throughout the whole of their day they kept having to stop all these journeys because they needed to relieve themselves, and they delayed all the buses not there. So we incorporated that joke into this story, and Yeah, I don't know why I wanted to draw a picture of him, spiking the drinks, but there you go. But his design is literally based off the same clothing that he came with in the Pokemon Trainer Designer game. So that's for a while. That's how I used to, uh, you know, use the basis for their clothing and so forth. Right. So let's get down to drawing him. Now, I'm gonna use him in this. I'm gonna draw him in the style how I later start drawing the characters. So let's see now. So male characters, they have a bit more of a. I always draw them like this here. So because I think this was probably something I did, or something I read up about in some character drawing book. I think it was meant to be for a superhero thing, but it was the only way they could actually draw this right actually. So let's see. So this is hips there. Shoulders there. I'm just drawing out all the key points not there so that I'll know where to. Why did I not do this with Jane earlier? I don't know. Now let's see what will he be doing? Right, in the series he's always seen holding a clipboard, so I might as well draw him holding the clipboard. So I'll draw the clipboard here. Just ignore the sound of the planes nearby. I've got my bedroom windows open at the minute here, just trying to let some air in, because it's just been so warm today. Oh, and I hadn't really been feeling all that well last night actually, because I think it was just probably the heat or something out there, but it caused me to have a bit of a migraine, which kept me awake most of the night, really, and this morning I just woke up feeling absolutely terrible. So right, so there he is holding his clipboard as he does. Now, for his head, like I said earlier on when I was drawing Jane's head, I always draw the male characters with a box head for some reason, or a rectangular head. It's like so. And then I would just do the top of the skull, like that, really. I don't know why I do that, but that's just it's just how I draw it, really. So he's got a bit of a long neck, hasn't he? Long neck has cars. But oh, we can sort out his profile in a sec here. There we go. Now, how did I design his hair? Did he actually did I describe it? Describe how his hair was styled? I think it was only for White House I mentioned his hair, his hairstyle. All right. Appearance in the stories: Mark is noted to have dark brown hair with a slight gothic style to it, and sideburns, and he has a goatee. Right. So gothic style hairstyles. This will be interesting. Let's see. I'm just gonna have to look at some reference here. Gothic hairstyles. Oh, Mason Fox. So, right. Okay, this might be. Actually, there's a good one. Punk rave gothic style hairstyle. That's roughly close to Cars' hairstyle, so we'll go with that. He's got a bit of a sort of a Matt Smith hairstyle, like early Matt Smith design. You remember in the early days when Matt was getting his costume design, getting his, choosing his costume for the 10th Doctor. No, not the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor. Sorry. Uh, he had this sort of like a gothic style look to him now, but yeah, I kind of like that thing. I might just go with that. Anyway, sideburns here, so I'll just draw some sideburns. Again, this is not really how he would look. There's spikiness there. Now, the reason why I chose Goth for his hairstyle is that the person he's based off has a sort of a gothic feel vibe to him. Um, there were times he would he would attend parties out there, and he would sometimes dye his hair black, and sometimes his fingernails black or somewhere over there. I don't know. He decided to go for the whole goth look for one time, and I thought that just kind of stuck with me for a bit. Okay. Kind of looks like a hairstyle from Simpsons in a way. Alright, that'll have to do for a bit. Alright, what's about his clothing? Okay, his clothing often changes, but he is often seen wearing the following clothing. White shirt, I can draw that in a wee minute here. Black jacket with monogeneous steady and gold stitching with 2 yellow lines below the waist, similar to yellow lines you'd see on a roadway or on a street. So, again, this was meant to call back to the Pokemon Designer game, where you would see in that preview I showed you there of that wee sketch I did years ago. You would notice that there was like some yellow bars or something on the jacket. So I decided to incorporate those into later designs, and I think actually in one of the later drawings I did he actually have that feature drawn in, or I need to look back at it again. Right, he didn't have for the first 2 early ones, but he did for a later one. I can't show. I might as well show you it actually, because it features one of the villain characters. Let's see now. Right, let's see. So this was actually one of the early drawings for the pilot story, the Search for the Lost Engine. This is when the main villain of the series, Burton Barton Williams, has kind of verbally brainwashed Cars into working for him, and to say that the Minutes Railway is an evil organization that is starting to close down his business that he's worked so hard to gain. And I drew this sketch of him with Cars literally plotting out what they were going to do. So you can see here, Cars has these 2 yellow lines on his jacket. Again, these are like very early designs, so they're not really official, like, but these were meant to be like symbols to relate to his involvement in the motor car society or with automobiles in general. So he still wears this in the series as a kind of a reminder of what his past was like, because Cars was the first character in the series to actually have a backstory as to why was he evil to begin with in the first, and I will have to confess, the most terrible pilot to an audiobook series, Minutes Railway Adventures, The Search for the Lost Engine from 2008. The original thing, we came up that he just had a dislike for the character. Basically this was because it was a joke I threw in to say that the voice actor who was originally meant to be in the sequel to a Thomas Model Railway video that me and Casey did years ago, we've now scrapped the idea on doing it. Sorry for those who waited for so long for it to come out, but yeah, we scrapped the idea on it there, and we just had a story where the voice actor uh, for whoever was going to be in Thomas Thing just had a dislike for me for not including him in the video, so he decides to take his revenge on every single railway in the world by creating a railway disappearing gun. That was, just complete and utter nonsense, really. So in 2015, I decided to rewrite the story again. So, like I said, Bernard kind of brainwashes Cars, and it's sort of like a verbally brainwash him to join up with his team and so forth, and say that the railway companies are responsible for closing down various businesses because of their popularity, and also is because before joining the Motorcar Society, Cars used to work for a small automobile garage that he was nearly ready to become the owner of it when the owner retired. But unfortunately, the current owner, Mr. Hughes, who's actually named after an old school teacher of mine, who I think is now retired. Actually, like he became the principal of my school, and then later retired. But anyway, yeah, he was forced into early retirement because Bernard, the landlord of the garage, increased the rent, and he couldn't meet that price, so he sold up the shop, and all the business, including employees, that includes Cars, were enrolled to work for Bernard. So, in Search of the Lost Engine, the rewritten version, it talks about Cars' experience working at the Motorcar Society, how he quickly made a good impression for himself with everybody, including Bernard, and how he quickly went up, just shot up through the ranks to become second in command. And for a young lad that he was back in all those years ago, it's surprising, how he managed to get all the qualifications and all there to become second in command of a huge business, making black market vehicles and so forth. So, but anyway, yeah, that's just an early sketch here of Cars. Let's get back to the drawing. So, let's get his jacket all drawn out here. Now, I might as well draw out his shirt first here now. I always draw him with like a high collared Harry Hill type shirt. I don't know why. I think it's just during the time I used to watch Harry Hill with TV Burp and so forth. Now, did I say that he wears a black jacket? Yep, I did. So he would always roll his jacket sleeves up to the elbows. That's kind of what I always used to do as well with any clothing I had. And then he has light blue jeans with a brass buckled belt. So we must include the belt. So, same as before with jeans. Always have a wider brim at the foot of the jeans. I can't remember, did I used to turn up the bottoms of the jeans? Maybe I did actually. Again, I don't know why, I just think this is just down to how I used to remember it. So the pocket let's yeah, I'm gonna just redraw those again. Right, now I'll just quickly draw these yellow lines that I mentioned. So they're all down there. I would draw in the MES logo, but that's just covered up at the moment. So bit of detail there. Let's see. Oh yes, he also wears a Rolex watch. It just shows you how, gives you an impression as to how big he was in the motocross society. He was able to afford a Rolex. Oh yeah, he's rumored to have a tattoo on his right arm, which I think it's covered up here at the moment here. So I don't know what his tattoo is at the moment, but chances are it's I think actually it's one of those tattoos. Like, you ever see those people where they have a tattoo where it's like a heart, and they always write the name of their loved one on the soulmate on the heart. So like, it's just saying, like, how much they love it. They love these people. So I think he actually has one here, but the name is faded over time because Cars did have, before joining the Model Engineering Society, Cars did have a girlfriend in the Motorcar Society. Unfortunately, she will be mentioned. She will be introduced into the series, but she is mentioned a few times, and her name is Rachel. Just so you know, her name is Rachel, and she was the secretary of Bernard Williams, and it's not. There isn't really much description as to what how he fell in love with her and that. There, I think it's just naturally, I suppose. Really, he just fell naturally in love with her, and yeah. In the course of the story of Search the Lost Engine, it just says, like, the two of them used to go out maybe once a week or so, or every evening. But on their way home, they always pass the Model Engineer Society, and as they go past, Cars would always give a snarl look to it. Again, this is like regarding mentioning his brainwashing thing from Bernard. But then since Lost Engine, thinking that he killed Whitehouse in a sort of like a raid type thing to retrieve the Lost Engine Betty from the Motorcar Society. Cars thinks he kills Whitehouse when he thinks he shoots him. Basically, Bernard gave Cars a gun, a hand pistol, as a sort of a way to force Casey, who was held against his will, to operate Betty, to operate some black market petrol gizmo that Bernard created. You'd have to listen to the audiobook to know more about how that was, what happened and so forth. But anyway, during the raid, Cars chases Whitehouse into the main heating vats, and in order to get out, Whitehouse has to walk across this giant gantry overlooking one of the vats, and in a fit of blind rage, Cars opens fires, and he thinks he shoots him. Like I say again, he thinks he shoots him, but he didn't. But it looks as if he had. What really happened was that he accidentally hit a stopcock valve, which fed water into the vat, which diluted the petrol, kind of changed the mixture of the petrol that was being made in that vat. So when Whitehouse fell in, it didn't cause any like serious damage to him. In fact, the only thing it did to him was change his hair from brown to blue, and that's why Whitehouse has blue hair. in the series. So it's mentioned every now and again why does his hair and how he got it, but we later I think I later say in the series why does he doesn't mind his hair being changed blue, but he actually sees it as more as a battle scar from that event. So yeah, we'll just leave it there, I suppose. All right, so that's just basically the rough proportions of drawing Cars' body and so forth. Let's just fill in all the outlines and then get his face drawn. So, right, where should we start? Okay, start off with his hair like I did with Jane. So, do his ear there, sideburn there, a couple of quiffs there. And again, I don't know why I always draw my characters having this kind of like rough hairstyle out there, but that's just how I used to do my artwork years ago. And like I like to like. Right, so it's also mentioned that Cars has a goatee, so I might just quickly just draw that in real quick. Just a wee small one, really. Just this clipboard there. Yeah, this is all it's not meant to be like good and all that. There, it's just a rough impression, really. I'll probably keep saying that during the whole stream, really. I wonder what May's barking at. In fact, actually, would you mind, guys, just excuse me for a wee sec here? I just want to see what's wrong with May here. So she's just barking at something here. Just back in a wee sec here. Right, I must apologise for that there. In case you were wondering, May was just barking at some sheep out there, which was causing a bit of a nuisance. But then she is a breed of sheepdog, so it's kind of natural. Right, so where were we? No, it's up to you guys exactly what he's writing about. It is the clipboard. Right, let's get his face, get his face drawn. Right, Kaz is a very stern character in the series, but he's got a gentle heart for everyone. So, but on this occasion here, we'll give him his stern expression. So. That's basically it. Looking back at it now here, his hairstyle is just like big giant poof. Really, that's best. It's the only way. That's the only way I can describe it. Really, he looks like he has something of an afro going on, but he doesn't really. It should be around here. It should be a bit more shorter. But actually, maybe I could actually change that real quick. This is where we'll have to bring the mouse in. Nope, this one refuses to work. I'll just change this real quick. Like I said, these aren't actually official drawings. They're only like rough, just for the stream, really. Used to think cars related to me. No, it was because I had to voice him in that audio because we were gonna get the actual voice actor, the original person who inspired the creation of Cars on board, but he wasn't available to do it. He was very keen to do it though, and when the last time I saw him was when was it now? It was shortly after I joined the Thomas team. It might have been 2018, I think it was. We just bumped into each other in the town. In fact, he saw me from across the street and he just yelled out. He's like, "Michael, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh my God, how are you? It's been a while." So yeah, he's doing all right now. I think he works now as a security guard for somewhere. So that's good on him. So getting the job as a security guard. But yeah, he was doing absolutely fine there, and glad he was all doing good. He was asking how I was. He said that Everything was all good for me. In fact, he kept bringing up the story that actually went around my school shortly after I left, which was it's not true, and I actually did confirmed it with my friends when I told openly said to them, I'm not dead. Basically, there was a rumor going around that I died in a car crash some years after I left school, and everybody, even my school bullies, actually were quite upset by this news, and they even I actually heard word that they actually even drank a toast to my health, to my life, and that there, and they kind of made amends of all the terrible things they said about me during school, and I was like, okay, I did not expect this. Like, but I just openly just said to him, like, it says I'm not dead though. So yeah, this is like living proof that I'm not dead. And he's like, yeah, I can't believe it, because he says to me that when he saw me for again for the first time in years, he thought he actually saw a ghost. But no, it was just me, just in the flesh, just going about my normal day life. But apparently it was somebody else. Somebody else had the same name as me. Um, Unfortunately died in a car crash, and God rest him. Just putting that out there. But yeah, everybody thought it was me. So yeah, that was a bit of a rumor that went around my schoolmates after I'd left. But yeah, to this day, like every time since I met up with him again, he keeps bringing that story up. So yeah. But anyway, this is Cars. So I'll just write his name, Mark Carson. So you can see why I chose the surname Carson, because it's the only way I can work the nickname Cars in. The zombies. No, to be honest, the zombie joke actually just came in, was actually meant to be relating to the pilot, where in the original story it was meant to imply that I died. Again, my character died in whilst trying to shut off the railway um, eraser gun type thing. It's a stupid concept really back then. Anyway, in the story, that's it. They kind of thought I died, and that was kind of the rumor. And only Casey was the only one who knew that I was still alive. So that's basically it, really. so, so yeah, we kind of moved that content on to later on in the story. So, but yeah. Anyway, there's Mark Carson as appears in the Miniature Railway Adventures, as drawn by me. So. Okay, so in case any of you guys just joined the stream, these were the two characters that had been drawn so far. So we have Jane Wilkinson, so I'll just write her name down here. So that's young Jane Wilkinson as she appears in the stories. And then we have Mark Carson as he appears in the stories. So that's those characters drawn. Just move this page so we have a clean slate. Okay, just have a quick drink here real fast. This live stream was not brought to you by Pepsi Max. Alright, I'm just gonna check my social media for a wee bit. And whilst I do that there, you guys can write in the comments who do you want me to draw next, character-wise. I'll go at this here for another hour. Finish up around 10 o'clock and then we'll finish up there. Okay, what's happening on the Blue Bird? Not a lot, really. Yep, not much. Not much. I suspect everybody's probably watching the England match tonight. To be honest, I don't really have much interest in football. I'm more of a ice hockey fan, really. So my brother-in-law used to take me to the ice rink, and I'd there to see Belfast Giants and all playing. It's a good sport, actually. Right, back to the stream. Right, so Tang Agent 97, you're asking for Mike Whitehouse. Bentown Fan number 1 Mob, you're asking for character number 1, which is Casey Jr. Right, so let's see. Why don't we let's try something a bit different. Let's draw them both. Let's do a double character this time round. Right, so hang on, I'll just sharpen the pencil here real fast. Yes, I've got one of these electric pencil sharpeners. There we go. That's some ASMR for you guys. Watching a pencil being sharpened. Right, okay, so Casey and Whitehouse. The first 2 characters ever to be created for Miniature Railway Adventures. Okay, so let's start with just getting the first profiles, just the rough skeletons of them first on. So let's see, we'll draw the heads first. So let's do. I like to do them as doing one of those sideways poses, like those ones where you have them. One person is leaning against another person, back to back, really. So let's see. I'll do this, but here's this kind of crossing here because the characters have different heights in this. So okay, so this is Casey. So don't worry, this I'm gonna be drawing all their profiles in a sec here. And Whitehouse is here. Actually, in real life, Casey's actually the same height as me, but years ago he was a young fella. I don't know if he's watching the stream now, actually. So if he is, hello, Case. Hope you're doing good. Right, now, Casey is a very skinny fella in the series. I always draw him with a sort of like a pencil leg and arm structure. I don't know. I don't know why. I just kind of think it looked good on him. Okay. Now, I'll have him with his arms folded. I haven't drawn a character with their arms folded for a while. In fact, I've mostly drawn Casey with his arms folded, so I think that's kind of like his signature pose, really. I think also the reason why I draw him with his arms folded is because in the series, Casey is a bit of an odd character, as in he likes things to be kept as they were, as like how he remembers it when he first joined, and any changes that come about, it has to go through his approval only. Not from anybody else, not the chairman or anything like that. It has to go through his approval, so it can be a bit of a bother to try and please both him and the railway at the same time, even though when everybody has their own different views on things. He would always say, no, you should have spoken to me first. And he's also a character who doesn't like getting days off. In fact, he actually likes working on the railway. He doesn't. He thinks like it's probably like the best vacation slash job he's ever had. So he wants to make sure that nothing stops him from enjoying what he likes doing. Right, so that's roughly Casey's profile drawn. Okay, so I'll draw Whitehouse's body in a second here, but in fact, no, I should just do that. I'll do that now, actually, just so I can, whilst I'm drawing these out. Yeah, I'll have him fold his arms as well, because it's a good pose. I actually remember I did one of these kind of poses as well with a friend of mine, Mel Shuri. It was at a time in it was at was it 2019? March 2019. I was at one of the Tugs weekends, and on the Saturday, Mel Shuri was there with some friends he wanted to meet up with, and he wanted to have a chat with me. Just this is about this is like post working on Thomas not there, so everybody knew I was working on Thomas. Word had got out. I was on the writing team and so forth. So, and as Ryan Hagen once described me at the last Tugs weekend he says it's the closest thing to a celebrity we'll ever get. And this is for an event where they actually had members of the regional Tugs team coming up there. So yeah, I hardly consider myself as a celebrity role. To be honest, I don't really see myself as one. I'm just a fan like you guys. So anyway, yeah. So during this weekend, Mel wanted to talk to me in private about just casual conversation out there, and I says, right, okay, why don't we go over to the signal box? We were in Swanwick Junction at the time, and there's a display signal box where you can go and lock the by with the levers and so forth, which weren't working, by the way. And I says, yeah, we'll go in there for a bit here. And somebody in the group yelled out group photo, and they saw me and Mel walk out the door to the signal box, and they thought, oh, this is where the group photo is going to be. So they all walk out, and and me and Mel were just about to sit, stand and chat about this and that there. And next minute we saw all these Thomas fans just come crowding into the signal box, and then one that says, "Oh my God, it's Michael!" And the whole signal box was literally crammed with all these Thomas fans, and they were all like saying, "Oh my God, Michael's here! Oh my God!" And I thought to myself, "Oh no, what's happened here?" So what also then I found out afterwards then. It turns out because of this here, it actually cleared the whole of the Tugs exhibit hall where they were stationed, where they were displaying the Tugs there. So none of them knew what was going on that caused the whole place to be cleared until I came back. So just give me one sec, guys. Right, guys. I'm gonna be back in about 15 minutes or so. So the stream's just gonna be on pause for a while. So yeah, just hang about for a bit. I'll be back in just a minute. So I'll just put it in the live chat as well, just so you know. Okay, normal service has been restored. So, sorry about that delay. Okay, where did we get up? Where did we get to? Oh yes, drawing White House. Actually, I do actually remember, um, in my early days of YouTube, um, because my username was White House Films in it there was a time when I kept getting like personal messages from organizations that would tie in like messages relating to anything that has the White House in their username. So sometimes I'd be like invited to take part in like conferences and that there because I've got White House in my name. People thought I was actually an official member of the White House and that there, and I had to reply back saying, "No, I am not. This is completely different. I have this username because I live in a White House and I make films. That's basically why I'm called White House Films." And this went on for a bit, and until they finally got the message saying, "Oh, it's somebody else. It's some other user. Sorry for troubling you." Towards I thought it was alright, but yeah. Anyway. Actually, even in the early days as well, when me and Casey were doing YouTube videos and there, people used to think we were American because we had Casey Jr. and White House. Now there, it's very American style names, but it was completely different. Right, that's their skeletons done, like their bases and all sort of done up. Let's get down to drawing all the features. So let's start with Casey first. Now, Casey is probably the one character in the Miniature Railway Adventures who I've written most of the stories upon. And in terms of drawing the characters, he was always the one that I drew first because his design is, well, basically he's the only one dressed in proper railway uniform, whereas everybody else is just wearing navy blue sleeveless jackets with Model Engineer Society on the lapel. Whereas he literally wears like the full like roughly driver's uniform, and his his clothing kind of reminds me of Welsh train drivers, which is quite convenient because Casey actually the real Casey has a bit of a fascination for Welsh steam engines, particularly Welsh narrow gauge engines. So so I wanted to portray this character as if he was like a sort of a Welsh driver, so to speak. And so yeah, let's get started with him. So first of all, draw his ears. Draw it in there. And one thing about Casey is that you very rarely see his hair. Because in real life, the real Casey, he cuts his hair down so fine that it's actually not always hard to see. But it's just like a wee fuzz, I think is what it's called. But yeah, Casey always wears the railway grease top cap, which I always just design like this, and then like that. So that's his cap there. I'll just remove that there because that's kind of distracting me a bit. Just sharpen this again real fast. Oh, can't wrecked it there, but never mind. Just use a brand new pencil. New pencil, new task. Okay, back with the high collar shirt again. The Harry Hill shirt, as I'll call it. And then his waistcoat. Casey wears I think it's a dark grey waistcoat he wears in the stories. He has an orange shirt, which he has the sleeves rolled up to his armpits, and not his armpits. What am I on about? His elbows. Quite honestly, he rolled his shirt right up to his armpits. Anyway, up to his elbows, and underneath that there he has like a white vest of some sort that is revealed. But yeah, I think actually I do remember a time the real Casey did wear this. He actually did have a set of clothes like this for a while. He sometimes used to dress. He used to dress up in whatever gear he wanted to be in. Like he would dress in full railway uniform for a special occasion. And the last time I remember seeing him dress up in full railway uniform was when we had a visiting engine at the Miniature Railway, which was a Black 5 class. Somebody built this very cool 7.25 gauge Black 5. And Casey was very impressed with it, that he wanted to dress up as a proper British Railways driver. This is what I'm guessing anyway. I think I don't know what he really intended to do, but anyway, he got the full outfit, and he wore the greased top cap and so forth, and he actually did look the part actually. And then he would go about and do his driving routines up there, and just made a good impression of it really. But yeah, he did wear this costume, which I'm drawing the character in later on, when he got into the habit of liking Welsh railways, and he still does like Welsh railways out there. Nowadays he mostly just wears the overalls and the flat cap. So he's going for a bit of a Fred Dib. I think he's going for a bit of a Fred Dibner look at the moment. So that's more like it. Okay, then the waistcoat comes down like that there. Things like that. Now he has a pocket watch as well, which he hangs from one of his pockets. Just seen there. His MES badge is sewn into his waistcoat. And also he's got a MES badge, pin badge in his cap as well. Right, does he wear a belt? No, he doesn't. He doesn't wear a belt. Just tighten that waistcoat a bit there. He looks like he has one of Billy Connolly's shirts. That's it. Like I said, Casey is a slightly skinny character, so his legs are quite skinny in parts. Might just have these wee pads things here on the knees, because when you lighten up miniature railway engines, there you do quite a lot of kneeling to get to certain areas for oiling and checking on the fire and so forth. So this will be the same for Casey. Now he also wears these boots as well, which I'll just draw up real quick. So like hard hobnail boots. No, not hobnail, but steel cap boots. Yeah, that's the name. Right, so that's roughly Casey's clothing and all drawn out. Okay, let's try White House real quick. Okay, so appearance-wise, Whitehouse is 6 feet 6 inches tall, has blue eyes, yale blue hair, styled similar to that of the actor David Tennant when playing the 10th Doctor of Doctor Who. Now, yeah, that's a pretty bit of a trivia thing because years ago I used to style my hair as David Tennant would in Doctor Who because I liked his hairstyle. That was quite a cool hairstyle to have back then. Um, so I often like to style my hair similar to him. Right. Okay. Which is a good reference picture to look at? So many. Okay, there's good. There's a good reference one. We'll go for. Okay, right. Draw his ears. Now, there's always something I actually wanted to keep Whitehouse's clothing very basic. I don't know why I wanted to give him just the red shirt for a while. In fact, yeah, that's kind of like my kind of trend thing. He's always wearing the red shirt and the blue jeans and so forth. That's like the very basic character clothing design, and somehow I just seem to like that. Really, it just seemed very basic and simple, and that's just how I like things to be, really. So, like I said, Whitehouse is literally just me, but he's got he's got a slightly different personality sometimes to me. Sometimes we share the same um, features, not there, but the only slight difference, the main difference, really, as I said, is his hair is blue. That's enough. That's pretty much it, really. Nothing really different compared to us whatsoever, apart from different hair. But yeah, like he does have sometimes where he has certain traits which are very flawed, but um, so these don't really apply to me that much. Like for example, in the story Groki Halloween, he actually shared my childhood fear of the Groke from the Moomin series, and I didn't realize that I actually had a fear of this creature or this character until my 17th birthday, which was actually in the same year as when I was creating I was slowly developing miniature rail adventures. We were still in the early stages of doing it, and I think that was during the time when I was doing part two of the pilot for the series, Search the Lost Engine Part Two, and it was the day before my 17th birthday when I stumbled across I came across a YouTube video of Moomin clips, and I thought, oh, I haven't seen this show for a while. Wonder how it's changed much. And then there was one clip that says Groke visits the Moomins, and I'm like, oh, who's this character, Groke? And then I saw the image, and I'm like, oh no, it's this creature. I thought I said goodbye to that creature when I was a child, and nope, it's come back to haunt me. And I didn't realize there was actually that many like horrific artwork of the character, like portrayed as a villain, like scary creature. But that's kind of what it was meant to show. But really, it was there's a whole different meaning to it now. So for a while, I used to be afraid of that character until I had to try and embrace my fears. I think it's the best way to say it, and try and find ways of curing myself from being afraid of this. Stop being afraid of this character. And so I watched numerous videos involving the character, got used to it for a while, and after a while, just slowly just grew out of it. I just grew out of it simply. And yeah, that just became the basis of an idea for a short miniature railway story where my character Whitehouse has the same fear. And it's not really a miniature railway story. I mean, yeah, it takes place in the miniature railway, but you know, why not? I can probably bend the rules at times where the series doesn't have to focus on the trains. In fact, the series is literally focusing on the character of the people behind operating the railway. So the trains aren't really the engine. The engines aren't really the main cast. Really, they're like the secondary cast. Right now, it does say here in the description that Whitehouse has a utility belt pocket. So he has like a little pouch in his belt that he uses for like storing, say like his phone or a pocket knife or anything like that he would use. But I can't seem to. I won't be able to draw it on this here, so we'll just leave that for now. And just draw his shoes real fast. Now, funny thing actually, Whitehouse's shoes are actually based off ones I used to have. In fact, I still have them to this day. I don't wear them anymore because I grew out of them. Because I've got large feet out there. But I really liked their design so much that I just decided to keep them as a concept or a reference clothing to use for when I'm drawing the character. And I think I put them away somewhere there, but if anybody wants to know, see them, I might put some random photograph on the Facebook page or something, or Twitter or whatever, and just say these were the shoes of the character of Mike Whitehouse. But yeah, I decided to draw them into the character so he has the same shoes as I have. Okay, so that's him with his uniform and so forth. It's actually not bad, actually. Right, let's get the main outlines and all drawn. Go over these again. So, just showing you real quick. There you go. Like I said, it's not the best. This is like the first time I've drawn these characters for, was it 1.5 years, really? So. Might as well give you guys some updates regarding to the miniature railway adventures, what's happening so far. Work is undergoing with the rewritten version of the feature-length novel, the Adventure Like No Other, and Chapter 1 has now been released on SAF for anybody to read. I will be putting up on my DeviantArt page shortly after the stream, so you guys can read it. Chapter 2 of that there will be released this weekend, so on both SIF and DeviantArt. So look forward to that. The reason why I had to rewrite the rewritten, so like I had to rewrite it twice, was because when I think I was getting as far as chapter 10 on the rewritten version, when I noticed I actually incorporated a lot of plot holes, which I threw in, and there were times I actually did start writing in stuff that I had already written at the very start, so I had to go over it again and see, like, okay, what have I made mistakes on here? Realized I made quite a number of mistakes, which were already released out to the public to see, and thought, do you know what? I can update this a bit further. Let's just go over and recheck these again. And as I rechecked them again, I started getting new ideas for the story. I thought, right, maybe it's better if I just change the plot a wee bit, so that it feels a lot more natural and more heavily focused on the main situation. So that's currently what's going on at the moment here. There are some bits of the original rewritten bit I've incorporated back in, but it's still, still there is a big massive change out there with a few hidden twists along the way. So you guys will have to work it out. And also, I had to, because it was bothering it kept bothering me for the whole thing. I decided to write the death sequence of one of the main characters. And yes, one of these characters gets killed in the story, and I had to write their death scene in advance just so it stops pestering me, because during the whole rewritten thing I kept thinking to myself, right, how is this going to happen? When is it going to be taking place? How is the mood going to be? And it got on. It went on for so long. I thought to myself, do you know what? Just screw it. I'm just going to write the scene right now in a document. Keep it away so that I can look back at it again when I'm ready for it. And then that's that. So I've written it. The character has been killed off, and yeah, as you know, with character deaths not there, it's very depressing. So I can't say who it is. Only people who I trust know who it is that's being killed off. And I asked them to keep the secret quiet until this time. But also there was also talks about the future of the stories. I think that story of the Grove plays a good mind, but I actually watched. It's on YouTube and the show is pretty good. Yeah, actually, I do remember watching. That's the the 90s anime of Movements. That was the one I used to watch as a kid, and their version of the Grove actually did frighten me. But it was when I came across a video of the stop motion ones. I think it was the felt versions. Um, the way they portrayed the Grove was also quite scary, because they gave her a voice which sounded like the sound of death. That's what some people described it there. But basically, it's somebody breathing very heavily into a microphone, like somebody with, I don't know, probably with asthma or something like that. They're just going like that there all the time, and it's so creepy. So I think that's kind of what scared me when I rewatched it again. And yeah, I just thought it was pretty creepy. But then the anime one also freaked me out as well when you see her first appearance, because in different dubbed versions they gave her different growls, not there, but in the English dub she says nothing, and that's even more scary. Because you don't know what's going to happen, and then like in her first appearance, like she just stares at you, and you don't know what she's going to do, and you think, oh, is she going to jump? Is it going to be like a jump scare thing there? And then when Moomin Papa is threatening her with the blunderbuss, not there, like he's telling her to go out there, the girl just stands and just stares at him, and you think, what's going to happen? Is she going to do anything? And then she just slowly turns to go away, and I thought, oh, that's just creepy. The creepy action movement there, that's ugh, freaky. So yeah, so in that audiobook, I did try to explain in some details what was about the Groke that used to scare me as a kid. And actually, funny enough, actually, I do actually have concept art for that story, that audiobook story, which is on the Facebook page of the designs. So apparently, in the stories, the characters try and help White House get over the fear. And so what they did was that it was based off something I saw on television, where somebody's trying to get over the fear of spiders. And they gave him like these toy spiders. So one of them was very cute, very, like a very kid-friendly spider type toy. The other one was a very horrific looking, like, nightmare fuel type spider, not there. That's meant to give you the impression that this is actually a very deadly serious creature that will bite you any second here. And then the last one was a very realistic looking toy spider. And he says, like, you're going to look after this one here, you know, you hold them out there, make sure you get used to them, so forth. And then we'll get you a real tarantula. Yeah, a tarantula. They bring it on set, they bring it on television, and they let him handle it. And he was fine. He actually cured it all fine. So I thought, okay, let's do this in the series. So we decided so that we have the characters make up their own Groke to try and help White House get over his fear. Grinding Gears hear word of this, and they decided to play this joke on White House. And that, in fact, that audiobook was actually the first time Grinding Gears actually make their appearance, when really they shouldn't have. They should have appeared a bit later, earlier on in the series. So just a bit of a trivia thing. Miniature Railway Adventures is actually in random order, so the stories aren't actually in the correct canon order. So you don't know which era or which season of the stories you're getting. But on the wiki page, I actually have, like, you know, where written out which stories is canon, or which order they're meant to be. So anyway, Grinding Gears have get word of this here and decided to do the same thing. So they make up their own Groke costume to scare White House, and it's so in the audiobook I make sure that they go way over the top, even down to the voice. And also, if you listen to the audiobook, the growls you hear, that's actually that is me doing the growls. So me doing my death metal growl, which actually was a bit of a star feature of my media class. Somebody really wanted me to do a growl for some video they did, which was fine, really. Anyway, yeah, so this is the Groke costume. So the one on the right, the one on the left is Grinding Gears' costume, whereas the one on the left is what Corpse came up with the military, the rest of the gang came up with. Hang on, just open up a new window so you guys can see it. So this one here, this is Grinding Gears' one, which is made out of an old tarpaulin, some googly eyes, patchwork, oil stains, and then with Corpse's one, it's like the Ghost of Christmas Future or something like that. Very realistic, very thing. The eyes are shrunken in. You can only just see like two small dots for the pupils. The mouth is kind of curved in that sort of a way. Very horrific thing. And then you have these very small, sharp claw type fingers not there. So yeah, that's kind of what the original artwork for my designs of the Groke back then were. And then at the end of that audiobook there was a bit of a plot twist where the real Groke appears. I have no idea why, but for some reason I just had that saying, like, you know, yep, the Groke appears and scares the characters. So yep, the Groke does exist in this universe. So anyway, let's get these Casey's design finished up here. So Casey's face there. He has like soot-covered stains on his face there, because like he was operating steam trains. Might often draw in some dirt patches here. I always call these the hashtag scuffs, because that's basically what they were. Right, so that's Casey drawn. Let's get the rest of White House drawn. And then I think we'll call that quits for now for this stream. So, how you guys find the stream so far? Are you guys getting more familiar to these characters? Are they how you imagine them to be? When you listen to the audiobooks, are these exactly how you think they're like in appearance? Or did you have a more different visual point for them? I was going to say there earlier on before I went back to talking about the Grookey Halloween story. I forgot these bits were coloured in actually. Casey's gloves. Um, I was about to say about the future for Miniature Railway Adventures. The the series is going to be running for 4 series before we're going to have the final episode. And I didn't really thought about for a while. I didn't really think about ending the series because I had so many ideas I wanted to carry on with there. But in recent events, it kind of made me think. Yeah, I think it's probably now time to think about the end of Miniature Railway Adventures. It's not going to happen anytime soon, just so you know. Not happening anytime soon because I've still got to do the rest of the stories and that there. But there was a time I actually am thinking about what's the last episode, what's the last story going to be, and the title of it there has been released. It's going to be called The Miniature Railway Adventure. That's basically it. Very simple. Um, I'm not going to give exactly what I'm not going to give away the plot because that would be too much. But what it does say for the trivia on the wiki is that all the characters appear in this story, and that's about it really. So all the characters from of Miniature Adventures all feature in this story. So that's all I'm gonna. That's the only bit of trivia I'm gonna give you guys. But like I said, I'm not ready to end the series just yet. There's still time to experiment with more things, and plus, I have to. I really want to get this visual adaptation of this series done because that was something I really, really wanted to do from the very beginning of this here was to make Miniature Railway Adventures an animated series. I mean, it's not going to be like Ed's World. It's not going to be like British Railway series. It's not going to be like Turbo J's Desk Railway and all that there. I mean, at the time, I wanted to try and make something of a popular series. Try and make it a bit of a hit. But these things always take time to flesh out, and sometimes I would try and jump on board the bandwagon, but there isn't really much of a grip hold to get a hold of to gain an audience out there. So that's why I was trying. That's why I'm constantly doing all these live streams and talk about the Miniature Railway and so forth. It's just to try and see if there's a way to gain an audience. And for those three who are on the stream right now, really, really grateful you're taking the time to actually watch this. Because I didn't know, because Miniature Railway Adventures is so far is the only self-made production thing I actually wanted to do, like story-wise and that there. And through my writing course, throughout my time as a writer for like Pablo and Thomas and so forth, I've used Miniature Railway Adventures as my artist palette in terms of writing, in terms of voicing out there. And even like if there's any story plots that didn't make it into Pablo or for Thomas out there, I would incorporate them into the Miniature Railway Adventures because I don't want to waste them. So I don't know what axed Thomas plots made it into Miniature Railway Adventures, but probably maybe a few catchphrases or so forth, or maybe some bits that I thought be interesting to incorporate in. But to be honest, I can't remember really what they were. So, but I think in terms of how I would like the series to be portrayed, in terms of like story plot wise, the closest I think, in terms of audiobook wise, that we got close to get that feeling of how I want Miniature Railway Adventures to be like in terms of feeling and in terms of atmosphere and so forth is when I did the audiobook Casey and the Trader. That felt exactly how I visioned Miniature Railway Adventures, down to the characters, the style of it, just the whole story plot really. And yeah, it's not just somehow out of all the Miniature Railway Adventures audiobooks I've made so far, Casey and the Trader still is my favorite because it just felt right. By how it turned out. And yeah, I think it's just the best one out of the lot. Right, just before I finish off, just so you can tell the characters apart, I'm just going to colour his hair in real quick. Just so you can tell them apart. Good old Biro. So even in black and white form there, you have to make sure you can tell the difference between White House and the others. And there's a feature story plot where his hair is becomes a bit of a flaw for the characters in a way. Right. That's pretty much it, actually. So there you are, Casey and White House. Just sign it there so I can say here it is. So yeah, in the series, by the way, Casey and White House's real names are Casey's Christopher Jones Jr. and of course White House's real name is Mike Whitehouse. So that's basically it. Right, it's now gone 10 o'clock. Should we have one more? Should we do one more? One more for luck, I suppose, yeah. Now I know you guys were asking for Corpse earlier on, so let's see if we can get him drawn real quick. I'm fine for doing one more. Just have a drink here and something to eat here real fast. Oh boy. God, it is warm this evening. How's the weather where you guys are at? Is it quite warm where you are? Right. No, nothing much in the social media platforms tonight. It's all quiet. Like I said earlier on, I think it's just the football is probably kept everybody busy. It's just an email. That's not really important. Oh, good. Good to see the weather's doing good for everybody. Okay, so last character we'll do for tonight's stream is Corpse. So, his real name in the series is Rory Clements. Now, in the series, he is based off my cousin, really. But his surname is actually based off an old school principal of mine, Mr. Clements, and he was a great principal. I actually forgot to I forgot the name of our last principal. But she actually was a nice principal for everybody. But when Mr. Clements came on board, he was down to earth. Everybody, he made sure everybody was all excited to get on to doing all like gymnastics and so forth, that there were any activity, and but he was also very, when he wanted to be serious, he was, as school teachers were back then, be very serious. But he was always fun. He was always fine to share a laugh, have fun, participate in games and so forth. And I actually do remember he actually praised me for scoring a goal in football, even though it was actually an own goal. So I accidentally scored an own goal by mistake. My teacher thought Mr. Clemens thought I was playing for the other team, but I says no, I'm playing for this team, and he's like, oh, it's still a good goal by the way, and I'm like, thanks. So okay, so Corpse in this series, he is actually the head of the workshop department and chief maintenance foreman at the miniature railway. Now he has a bit of a history, does Corpse, and this kind of generates back to how he was portrayed in the original pilot. In the early days, my cousin voiced him, and he made him this kind of a weird character who just had this weird schizophrenia type personality, and for a while it was all right, but it kind of just dawned on for me for a bit, like, yeah, it's kind of growing a bit old, so let's just try, um, just have a bit more of a down to earth normal bloke. So he's mostly most of the brains out of the group, when it comes to constructive thinking. And if there's anything that needs fixing on the railway, or anything new or that needs to be sorted out there, he's the person to turn to. In fact, he's like Ted Glenn, really. He's the Ted Glenn of the series. So I'm just gonna have him do this bow leg type thing. I don't know why, but I'm saying that quite a lot now. I don't know why. I should know. I should be knowing all this. But it's got a bit of an Arbuckle type pose, I think. Okay. Hasn't really got much of a neck there, really, so let's just change that there. Move his jawline a bit further up. There we go. I'm sure this is great ASMR treatment, ASMR content for you guys. Bob Ross, eat your heart out. Yeah, we're just going to pick a little tree there. Happy little tree. There. Now, what will he be doing? Now I had cars looking at his thing. Let's see, Corpse's his workshop 10, so let's just have him carry a railway line or something, like part of the track. So let's see, his arms covered there. I'm just drawing this out roughly, just so I know what to do. We'll draw next, and then he'll be holding a toolbox. Yeah, that's basic. Yeah. Just redraw that head again because it looks a bit too big in my views. that's it. That's more like it. Right. Actually, that pose actually looks like as if he's walking, so actually it's quite good. Right. Clothing features. Corpse is portrayed to have dark brown hair, blue eyes. He is seen to mostly wear the following. He has a dark grey baseball cap turned round. So, baseball cap. There you go. One baseball cap turned right. A dark red t-shirt, navy blue sleeveless jacket with MES and gold stitching, tan jeans, brown steel capped boots. Sometimes wears a dark red sweater in cold seasons. Sometimes seen wearing camouflage trousers, like jeans or something like that, and mostly wears fingerless gloves. Okay, so that's fine. So you'll have a dark red shirt. And he also has the jacket as well, so. Now, in real life, actually, the Miniature Railway that this series is based off, we don't actually have uniforms to wear. I mean, you can wear, like, a railway cap if you want to, or some of them wear overalls with the club's logo on the side, but other than that, there isn't really much of a uniform to wear. But in the series here, we decided to give the characters a uniform, so this is what it is. And it's kind of similar to for the Motor Car Society. They actually have a similar uniform as well, except for theirs it's dark grey, whereas ours it's like it's navy blue with gold stitching out there. Whereas in the MES, I said it's dark grey with not. I would say it's stitching, but it's actually I might probably change it to actually felt tip. Like the MES logo is actually roughly drawn in with Sharpie pen, because Berta wants to save as much money as possible because his business is failing. That he just can't be arsed actually drawing or paying for like official uniforms, so everybody has to Sharpie in the logo. Back to the squiggle again for the shirt, and MES. It'll be a lot more uniform out there, just drawing it in real quick here. Okay, his gloves are just gripping that box there. Right, that's pretty much him, really. Right. Oh, I shouldn't really be clicking my fingers out of there, but right. Let's get this character finished off, and then we'll finish the stream. Now, not very bit of trivia. Corpse was actually going to have a lot more features in the Miniature Railway Adventures, where he actually has a special gizmo, which for a while in the early developments of the stories, we wrote it in quite a lot. But after time, I thought, I don't know whether or not it would catch on. But he created this device, which was loosely inspired by Penny Gadget's watch in Inspector Gadget. And it was like an onboard computer holographic projection device, which also has like holographic link ups to the miniature railways security cameras and so forth. And he called it the watch this. So it's watch this in a kind of a way, and it was basically an anagram. It was a full version of what was it the it basically stood for watch and time contraption holding dimensions in space. That's basically what watch this stood for. It was basically it was basically like a handheld TARDIS, so to speak. And there was early drafts of the stories where Corpse had the ability to go back in time. See, this is like back before we like properly developed the series. We were like throwing in ideas into the pot. Corpse had the ability to travel back in time and witness certain events that could help solve a mystery to the railway in terms of, like, who was responsible for doing this and so forth. It also played a bit of more of a an important role in the feature length story before it was rewritten. And again, write it out because I didn't really think it would work, and also I just wanted Miniature Railway Adventures to feel more real life than it was more. I wanted Miniature Railways to feel more like a bit of a railway soap opera, so to speak. So yeah, I decided to write out to watch this, and Corpse is just more or less just a normal, skilled-minded mechanic or workshop attendant at the railway. But yeah, like I said, like in terms of like for soap operas not there, there will be drastic problems that the characters will have to undergo. There will be times where they will encounter things that doesn't really agree with them that well, like um, supernatural stuff. That's just sometimes for like creative thinking in ways. Um, they will encounter like robbers, villains, murderers, um, and even what was it? They even encounter like in one later story. Bit of a spoiler for later on. But they actually encounter a mafia. Yes, there's actually a mafia in Miniature Railway Adventures, which comes in only for one story really, because it's all to do with um, something that happens in the mafia family really. That unfortunately the Miniature Railway gets involved for some reason. And yeah, so that's kind of why I wanted to make Miniature Railway Adventures feel as real as possible. But that's kind of what I kind of like doing. I like to write complex storylines for the characters to try and solve, but also to try and help me solve it as well. Like, what way can I, if I think of a situation, what's a good way to try and solve this problem in a very creative way, and have ones where the characters feel a bit more real. So, like for example, when Casey wrote Fimbulculum the Gala, most of it, I think, in the original story, most of it focused on his character a lot, and I decided to incorporate, with his permission, of course, to incorporate a side plot where we actually see more of the relationship with Cars and Jane. Now, I don't want to say exactly if they are in a relationship or not, though, but there's hints that they are, and there are some ways where Jane just can't stand Cars for his what he does in the rail, in as being a second in command authority in the railway at the railway. So sometimes she would try and get him out of like socializing with officials not there to help out with the catering at the railway, because she's like the only person doing it, and she thinks Cars isn't pulling his weight in terms of getting jobs done. He's just standing around doing nothing. So I decided to write that subplot in where she kind of tells him off for doing that, and it seemed to go quite well. Right, I know I said in the description here the corpse has mostly tan jeans, but is sometimes seen wearing camouflage jeans, so I might as well just draw those in. The camouflage design. Right. Now just to draw his eyes, his face, and then that's it. Right, that is basically it now. Can't think of anything else to draw at the moment. So that's pretty much the whole of the main cast of Miniature Adventures for in terms of character wise. So let's take that real quickly. Yeah, come on. Okay, so we've drawn the five main characters in the series. So from the start of the stream, we've drawn Jane Wilkinson, Mark Carson, Casey in Whitehouse, and finishing up Corpse. So I'll just write it down real quick here. Oops, sorry, just hit the mic there. There we go. Now these aren't like official sketches. These are only just like ones just drawn up just to remind you guys, or just to help you guys get visual ideas to who everybody is in the series and so forth. And yeah, I hope this helps you visualize more. So next time you listen to Miniature Railway Adventures, this is who the characters look like. Right, before I sign off now, the next Miniature Railway Adventures audiobook is being planned out. It's going to be the fourth story for Series 1. This is like one of the stories that we were meant to do years ago, since we very started this off here, and it's where grinding gears are properly introduced into the series. So the story is going to be called Rivals, and like I said, it's going to be like a very early story. So like characters like Stephen Merkay, Charlie McGuire, and so forth, they won't be appearing in that story because they wouldn't have been created yet at that time. So Rivals is halfway through writing stages, and once it's fully written up and approved out there, I will record the audiobook for it, and as well as release the written version on both SAF and DeviantArt for you guys to read and enjoy. After that, there's going to be the next. I think there's going to be 3 more stories that are going to be made into audiobooks. These are going to be the stories Grange's Chime, Love Hurts, and The Signalman. So those are the last 3 stories that are going to be made into audiobooks. Now, one of them is being written by a friend of mine who has very kindly volunteered to help out with the series. And the other 2, I don't know who's going to be writing those 2, but I've asked some friends to see would they be interested here, so I'm going to ask them to see would they be able to give it a try. But that's pretty much it so far. So, but after that, after those 3 stories are written, then we're going to go straight into getting the visual adaptation underway, because, like I said, I've been doing these stories for well over 10 years, nearly hitting 15 years or so. It's about time I got some visualization sorted out and try and get these sorted out. So yeah, I've got some friends helping me out in terms of getting like character design, proper concept character design sorted out. The characters are all going to be like 2D animated, incorporating with train simulator type animations, and I'll just have to see how we go from there. Really, there will also be the return of the full cast versions of the stories. So with this visual adaptation, we're going to be having a full cast to play the characters, and just going to say this in advance here, I'm going to be stepping down playing my character Mike Whitehouse in the series. So I'm going to retain the role of the opening narrator, voiceover. But yeah, whoever's going to be playing my character is going to be a separate individual who I will probably send out an audition for, ask for auditions, and to play the main characters. But don't be sending in your auditions just yet here. I just need to wait to see what happens first before we go any further with this visual adaptation. So yeah, that's what's going to be happening. So yeah, that's what's happening so far in Miniature Railway Adventures, and we'll see how we go from there. In terms of the real Miniature Railway, these last 2 weeks have been very tough for me, really, because as you guys probably found out, the real Miniature Railway that the stories are based off has now officially closed down, and all the tracks out there are being taken up right now as I speak. So as far as I know, the 7.25 gauge line, which the stories heavily focuses on, has already been bought. Some private buyer has bought it, and they're going to be picking it up later on in the month. So yeah, whoever it is, good luck to them, whatever they have plans for. But yeah, I don't know what the official thing is happening now with the Real Model Engineer Society. There's talks of a merge, but nothing else apart from that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So for the real life inspiration for Miniature Railway Adventures, it's the end of the line. But the stories will still live on as a fictional memory, as looking back at those happy times. So yeah, I think that's kind of constantly why I'm constantly trying to promote Miniature Railway Adventures as much as I can these last few years, because I don't know. Anyway, let's just end the stream now. So yeah, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hopefully the next one will be a bit better. All right, take care, guys.